Hey, whoa, we're back. We're gonna keep on cleaning. We left off last time. We were working on the Krusty Krab, and that's what we're gonna keep working on because it's still a mess, and it's up to us to clean it. Something like that. We're just gonna keep on doing this whole satisfying nonsense here. A good game. Ah, boy. Tell you what, I honestly am so glad that I decided to play this game for these recordings because it's turning into definitely something I'm looking forward to for just the sake of chilling out and relaxing. I don't even care if anyone watches. Like honestly, I mean like that's a good way to go about life in general. Do the things you want to do without worrying about if other people care, right? Because then at least you've done something that you're happy with. So it's like in general I try to do that, but like especially right now, I'm glad I made this decision because in a life full of stressful life, it is really nice to have something this chill and enjoyable to look forward to at any given time of the day. So, hopefully other people are enjoying it. Um and if not, well, suck it because this is my channel. It's my show and I can do what I want. So, there you go. I feel like that's one of the other beautiful things about this, like because like just my situation in general. I'm sitting here, recording and stuff like that, and I do genuinely hope other people are, seeing and enjoying that. Even if just one person sees and enjoys these videos, like that'll make me happy. Just because I like the thought of, helping other people find a little bit of joy every now and then in life. That genuinely does make me happy. But like just the beauty of approaching this way, like because I don't have my living tied up in this, paying my bills. I don't have that tied up in this. It's really kind of the way to be, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I don't even know if it would have to be me making a really good living for me to want to choose this over the way I'm living life now, where I can do this for fun because what I do for a living just affords me the time and energy to do that. Hi, Kitty. You're gonna sit in front of the camera. Good for you. Good job. Um, but yeah, like this is the way to be because there's so much stress involved. The one of the things I would worry about constantly if this was how I was trying to make my living. And like when I say all of that, like I'm saying like kudos to the people who do make a living streaming or recording, because I feel like it's not nearly the walk in the park that we kind of perceive it to be. It's easy to think like, oh wow, what a great living, you get to sit and play video games, but it's not really exactly that, because you get to play video games, but it's kind of at the whims of other people, right? Like if I'm trying to make a living off of this, I need to figure out how to, follow YouTube algorithms, and I need to follow trends on in terms of what games are popular at any given time. I need to care enough about those to change what I'm doing for that. I need to curate, I'm not going to say change my personality, but certainly curate the parts of it that are popular and, entertaining to the most number of people, right? Because if you're trying to make a living off of this, it's all about like volume of views and likes. And I guess you can kind of mitigate that a bit by doing like Patreon, so you can have like, if you have a particularly dedicated fan base, it can be smaller and they can kind of compensate for, you know for if you have fewer views and stuff like that. But just in general, there's so much stress involved in trying to meet the expectations of an audience if you're trying to do this as a living. So all of that to say, I'm really glad that I don't have to do this as a, for a living type of situation, and instead I can do it just because I think it's goofy and fun. because I feel like as far as streaming and choosing games and stuff, or recording and choosing games to record and all that, I feel like I've kind of got it made right now. So like, there's that, which kind of inherently answers the unasked question because, I have like 3 viewers. Would you ever do this full time? Answer is, boy, oh boy, you're gonna have to give me a lot of money to convince me to do this full time. Because as soon as, like I say, as soon as my living is tied up in this, then it stops being fun and it starts being a job. And the reason I have so much fun doing it is because it's not a job. It's just something that I can do for fun. And I love that. And to kind of turn this conversation to something a bit more wholesome and positive, right? Like the moral of this story, for anyone wondering, is find things that you love to do, that you're having fun doing, and find a way to do them without it depending on the joy or approval of others. Like I do this because I have fun with it. I know my audience is virtually non-existent. And I know that it will probably be like that for my entire life going through this, because I'm not interested in chasing algorithms, marketing myself, all that kind of stuff. I'm just interested in playing games and chit-chatting while I do it. And, I'm sure there are people, maybe one day I will find a significant audience, because I'm sure there are people who, there's a small niche, even if that niche is 10 people in the whole world. I'm sure there's a niche of people that would find my particular brand of doing this to be entertaining, but like I'm not doing it for the sake of pleasing them. I hope it does please them, but I'm just doing it because it's fun. And sometimes I feel like that's a bit of a lost art in today's world. We're so fixated on, the hustle of everything, of trying to make sure that we, monetize and maximize the gain, the personal gain, be it monetary, fame, whatever. So fixated on what are we getting out of the things that we do. And sometimes we forget that it's okay for what we gain to just be pleasure and enjoyment. I don't have to do this to make money, nor do I have to make money to do this. I can just sit here and babble while playing games because I have fun sitting here babbling and playing games. Is each roof plank going to be separate? That's psychotic. How could they do this to me? Okay, how could they do this? That's insanity. Each roof plank being separate. Good lord. Okay. I guess I'm gonna need to get this. Get this and make sure I'm getting each one. I'm gonna do the whole like, oh, it's gonna be difficult to find a place to put. Okay, good. Yeah, that's okay. That's gonna be a bit of a bear to have to deal with. They're gonna do me like that. Each plank is its own separate entity. That's insane. Just pure insanity. There we go. Even the nails. I feel like they only did that because like this feels like there should be more individual things. I do feel like that about almost all of the maps, not even just the SpongeBob maps in this game. There are like when you have like a full fence and it's like each fence, like each fence board, each plank for the fence has its own thing, and it's like just kind of sitting there like, was this necessary? Or are they just like really trying to get in the spirit of the gacha games where it's like, oh, the enjoyment comes from hearing that success ding, 8 million times in as short a time period as possible. Something cynicism about our need for instant gratification and dopamine hits. I mean, it's true. We're a bunch of simple orangutans that are so easy to please once you figure out what it is that pleases us. And what pleases us is pretty much entirely just instant gratification of things. Like, we we like to make fun of people who like social media and stuff like that, and we like to vilify social media, but the fact of the matter is, the only reason all of the criticisms of it are true is because, well, they're true. We are simple creatures that just enjoy simple, uncomplicated, pleasure, dopamine hits. That's who we are. We can't change it. We can kind of be aware of it and mitigate it and try to, alter the choices that we make in life and the activities that we do based on that. But you just can't change the fact that we hear success ding and we feel good. That's just how it is. Trying to change that or act like that isn't true is like trying to say that you can transcend the need for food or air. Like, you know what, after a certain point, this is just who we are. Who we are as a human race. For better or for worse. Taking some strange conversational turns this episode. I don't know if that's good or bad. What does the algorithm say? Oh god, it was all an act. Me saying I didn't care about the algorithm. That was all me trying to please the algorithm. Reverse psychology. Now it's so meta. It's so meta, we've just spun it in a full circle. It's a real Ouroboros of trying to figure out how to be entertaining. How do we even handle this much? Cat chasing its own tail. Okay. See, this is, like I say, this is genuinely fun for me. Just sitting here talking out loud. I'm like alone in my apartment. My cat's around, I guess. She's probably listening to me. Maybe it gives her comfort. I don't know. All I know is even if people do end up watching my episodes of my goofy, I don't know, what would you call it, a show? I guess it's a show. I'm putting on a show. But even if no one watches it, or like even if people do watch it, at this moment in time as I'm recording it, there's nobody here to listen. I'm alone. No friends, no family. Nobody of any importance to me at all. Just sitting here listening. I'm just a dude sitting here talking to himself while he plays a game. And like I say, the thing is it's fun for me to do this. Even if I weren't recording it right now, I'd probably still be doing exactly this, because I talk to myself. I talk out loud while I'm alone in my apartment. This is what I do. So, like, what's even left on this plank? I'm confused. Did I get the crevice appropriately? It seems like it's kind of registering that there are crevices here. Crevasses, if you will. I wonder if... Aha, yep. It's this one because I was kind of over top of it. I need to get this, like, sort of sideways. There it is. Okay, good. I'm gonna need to pull. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Actually, I'm just gonna go over and make sure that I'm getting this angle from crevice there, and then at this point I think we can grab this, bring it over here like that. Now we can get here. Perfect. Bing bing. It's just so good. It's so satisfying. Pop the bubbles by spraying them. Nope. That would have been a fun... That would have been an extra mile thing that they could have done, but, well, they didn't. So, judge the game however you want based on that knowledge, knowing that they chose not to. They could have, and they chose not to. They could have done that for us, for you. They didn't. Which makes perfect sense. It seems like the kind of thing that really is pretty inconsequential, the game. Literally unplayable. How anyone can enjoy this game when they have such sloppy workmanship invested into this game is beyond me. For shame. Oops. Oh, I guess I can get that. They're not going to have the backsides of the flags be dirty, are they? Would I even have a chance to get that? Like, oh well. Like, what on earth am I caught on? Higher buildings. Like, that's okay. Those are good hitbox. Good hitbox. Reasonable hitbox. I can't be upset about that. Okay, get up and just get a better angle for these painting flags here. I don't like that I don't like that the flags are just kind of worn in appearance anyway. Making it that hard. It's got, oh man, the backs do. The backs of the flags have to be. Yeah. Oh my gosh, how am I gonna get those? Does this get a significant amount? Okay, good. Gonna go at it from this direction here. That seems to, okay, good, that's sufficient. Cheesing the angle seems to work. Oh shoot, but I don't know. Find out. Okay. Okay, is that all of them? Flag. Oh, the rope. Oh, okay, flag. Let me just first make sure we got the flags. I think we got all the flags. So let's go. I think if I go up top here. Oops. Oh, well, that works. And we should be able to get an angle on the back side of the rope here. Oh, lovely, except that's not the part of it that... Yeah, maybe... Oh, maybe it's the undersides. Okay, we'll just come here and we'll get the straight up undersides of the ropes here. There we go. Okay, good. Is there anything left on the Krusty Krab here? How do I... Okay, there we go. Okay, oh, shoot. Sidewall. Oh, I haven't even done the sides at all. I haven't even done the sides at all. That's just absolutely foolish of me. Okay, we got to get those. And there's 2 more windows that need to be gotten. Okay, we can do that. I mean, taking a sip of my Dr. Pepper cream soda. One of the better experimental flavors from Coca-Cola Company lately. Gotta say, I'm a big fan. I love when... So, like, I'm, you know... Obviously, big companies bad, blah, blah, blah. But at the, like, my take is always, if big companies are willing to at least provide me products that are worth the money that they charge me for it, then we can at least live peacefully. Kind of the way that, like, if a spider is going to stay out of, you know, not land on my face at any given time and just, like, hang out in the corner of my apartment and eat the flies and stuff, we can totally coexist peacefully. That's kind of the take I have on big companies. But I just want to caveat that saying, like, I'm not shilling for Coke here, okay? I'm not bought out. Like, I haven't sold out because they haven't offered me any money. It wouldn't take much for me to sell out. But at any rate, I'm just saying, I enjoy it when soda companies, and yes, I'm from, you know, the Midwest of the United States, and I say soda instead of pop. I'm a weirdo. I don't even have a reason for it. It's not like anything where it's like, well, it's my aunt who meant a lot to me used to say soda, so I emulate her. And it's not even that. I'm just weird. Just like the way soda sounds. It's a fun word. It's a conscious choice to say soda instead of pop here. But when soda companies make new fun flavored sodas, it doesn't matter how absurd the flavor is. I get really happy about it, and I absolutely try it. And a lot of the reason that I do that is because I don't drink. I'm one of those dweebs that's like straight edge in today's world, which I know is a weird thing. Oh shoot, we got something for Patrick. Hold on, I will continue this tangent in a second. What's covered in dirt, has one round leg, and likes hopping a lot? Oh, gee, I don't know, Patrick. What's it gonna be? Because whatever it is, it just left. Ha, that's okay. That one actually feels kind of like a good Patrick line. Like, it's weird that we don't. It kind of doesn't land because we don't have the visuals that usually come with SpongeBob gags like that. But I'll take it. You know, it's better than like the weird Squidward lines that really did not feel very Squidward. Oh, wow, I already got that rope, huh? Oh, whatever they say. Was I oh yeah, I was talking. Okay, I was going on a tangent about sodas. Okay, I get really excited when, you know, soda companies actually make new flavors of soda, and the reason for that, like, it's a very simple reason. I don't drink. I'm a nerd who's straight edge. Just never really saw the appeal of it, and now that I'm an adult that has like bills to pay, Like, I am kind of like, you know, I'm pretty happy with, you know, soda and stuff that doesn't cost as much as alcohol, so I'll just stick with that. But in today's world, like, go to any grocery store, any store at all. It doesn't even have to be a grocery store, and look how many different flavors of like alcohol, of beer, whatever are there, and like how every year, you know, every brewery out there is like, we've come up with our new summer line, and it's like, so like, okay, where I live, right, Midwest United States, the big grocery store in my state, this might be a clue about what state I live in, although I've already said it's Michigan, is Meijer. Meijer is, you know, Meijer or Meijers. I'm not really entirely sure which one is actually the technical one. I call it Meijer. People call it Meijers. But that's kind of like I'm going to Meijers, like as if Meijer's a person, so it's like a possessive. I'm going to their place. Like the store line is like Meijer, Friedrich Meijer. It's Frederick. I like to say Friedrich because I'm weird. But at any rate, you go to Meijer, go to the grocery store, and I look at the alcohol section, and they've got like 5 full aisles of just like alcohol, of like different beers and wines and vodkas and tequilas and whiskeys and all that kind of stuff. I went there one day, there was this new line of like whiskey or whatever being released. It was like a Saturday morning. People were lined up out the door to get a bottle of whiskey. Like, people, it's obsessive to the point that I constantly ask the questions, like, does humanity just have an alcohol problem? Like, not individuals, the entirety of humanity. Do we just have an alcohol problem? I feel like there's a good chance that we do. But at any rate, that's kind of a different tangent. The reason I'm bringing this up, they have all those aisles, and yet you go there and they only have like one aisle of soda, and 90% of it is various iterations of just like Coke and Pepsi, where it's like, oh, we have Coke, we have Diet Coke, we have caffeine-free Coke, we have Diet caffeine-free Coke, we have Coke Zero, which is somehow fundamentally different from Diet Coke, even though it's not. We have to have both of them, and they're both just artificially, like, intentionally made to taste different, even though they're both 0 calorie. They both serve literally the same function, other than they taste a little different. You know, it's like you have 8 million of those, you know, and then you might have, like, you know, a couple different types of orange soda and stuff, and then otherwise it's just like it's all the same. It's all the same stuff, and even on top of that, it's not even the same, not even close to the same variety as the number of beers. You can find like 8,000 different beers. All of them taste like the same amount of alcoholic gross. I'm sorry, beer tastes gross. You know, if people are allowed to say coffee tastes gross, even though I love coffee, I'm allowed to say beer tastes gross, even though people love beer. Okay, I'm putting my foot down on that one. Right, but the point is, there's so much of it. Also, we finished that. We're onto this one now. Hey, we did it! Hooray! But there are so many different flavors. There's so many different friggin' flavors of beer, and yet, like, they can't be bothered to just like experiment a bit more with soda every now and then. So when you do get a different flavor of soda, like cream soda, Dr. Pepper, like, that's exciting for me. I don't drink beer. I don't give a crap how many different ways you have of letting hops rot and then drinking it so that you can be stupid for a night. Like, that's what alcohol is. You drink it so you can be intentionally stupid. The whole point of it. And it's like there's a whole culture around it, and yet there isn't a culture. You know, the culture that's around soda is essentially like the only culture involving soda is all of the weirdos who are all like, water is the best, like all the water boys of the world, you know, you know, hating on Gatorade and crap, telling me that I need to drink less soda because it's poisoning me, you know, while those same people are probably the same people that get all like kinds of moved and excited to go out to their favorite brewery every Friday night and drink like 7 beers, and because it's called a sampling, and that's what makes it classy. You know, that one South Park bit. It's really hilarious. Well, the smorgasbord, and it's classy. He's drinking like 7 glasses of wine. Like, if people are allowed to do that, I'm allowed to enjoy my sugar water. Please and thank you. But at any rate, I'm drinking Dr. Pepper right now. It's pretty good. Sorry, I get a little passionate about this one. Because, like, in general, I don't know. I do sometimes, like, I do have some genuine worries about the prevalence of alcohol and the way people use it. Like, I think... Just to give it in a nutshell, I don't have a problem with people drinking alcohol per se, but I think there are more people with a drinking problem than like they realize. Like I think there are a lot of people that don't think they have a drinking problem but probably do. Like it's one thing if you enjoy, having a little alcohol every once in a while with friends or something like that. But like for example, one of the lines I hear all the time of people to justify them drinking, socially is they're like, "Oh, well, it's like a social lubricant. It makes it easier for me to socialize." And it's like on the one hand I get it. As someone who does have a certain level of minor anxiety, although I wouldn't call myself, well, I mean, like I've had to be medicated for depression and anxiety and stuff like that before at different times in my life, right? But it's like if your anxiety is so bad that you can't socialize unless you get drunk, you're self-medicating at that point in time. And like I feel like that really toes the line of like, oh, is this just like a socially fun activity, or do you actually have like an underlying problem that should be addressed with something other than alcohol, right? And it's like I don't have the answer, and I'm not even necessarily claiming that even in that situation necessarily my answer is the right one. I just, people don't ask the question. Another way that I put it is the default is that there will be alcohol at social events. That's the default. The default is that we will be altering our brain chemistry at least mildly. The default, the assumption is that there will be beer. Like for example, me as someone who doesn't drink, and so I don't have beer at home. When I am hosting, like I have to inform people who don't know me. Like I have to inform them that I will not be providing alcohol. That if they want alcohol when they come over to my place, they have to bring their own, right? Because the default is that there will be alcohol. That is the default state of being. You go to an event and it's considered courteous to let people know if it is going to be a dry event. Like that's the default is a social event will have alcohol. And I question whether that's actually healthy or not. Like that's my take on it. And I'm getting intense about it. Like it ultimately it doesn't matter, right? As long as your drinking doesn't turn into driving drunk or, getting yourself into, uncomfortable situations. Like if your drinking is genuinely just kind of limited to you enjoying a little bit of alcohol and it's fine, like that's fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. I just, I'm asking the question is all. Like, do we have an unhealthy attachment to it as a human race? Because it is outrageously prevalent in our lives, and no one really questions that. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, no, we get drunk on Saturdays. That's what we do. And my thought is always like, is it healthy for us to want to sort of collectively expect that on weekends or on, like, especially if you're at the point where it's like you can't go an evening without one beer. People will think like, oh, I only drink 1 or 2 beers a night, I don't have a problem. But like, you might not have a physiological addiction, but like at that point in time it's probably a bit of a psychological addiction if you have to drink alcohol every day after work to feel content. Like, those are the types of things that I see it as someone who doesn't drink. It seems very obvious to me, and maybe it's just because of the fact that I don't drink that my view of it is a little warped. I'm willing to entertain the thought that maybe I'm the one with a warped perspective because I don't drink. But I feel like it's a question worth asking, because I feel like a lot of people are maybe a little too blasé about alcohol in their lives and don't have quite the same under control with relationship that they think they do. Is I guess where it comes down to. Like, if you genuinely do have a handle on it and your relationship with alcohol is genuinely just that you every other weekend like to go out with friends and you have a beer or two while you're out with friends, that's not an issue, right? But I feel like the default culture in America involves a lot more alcohol than that. I'm not going to speak to other cultures, and maybe it's not even unfair for me to say America. Where I live in America, I feel like that's a much more prevalent thing than it should be. I don't know. Maybe that's a heavier topic than spray painting or spraying clean the chum bucket. Warrants. Maybe this isn't the venue for this conversation, but it just, I got to thinking about it. So anyway, I'm going to take a sip of my Dr. Pepper right now. Patrick, you're a genius. Those dirt circles on the chum bucket are exactly the same as those left on our houses at Conch Street. Let's investigate. You can't go... Oh, okay, well, I was too slow. Maybe you guys read it before there. And I know I could open it, but I don't want to. I just want to keep cleaning and enjoying this. Talked about how relaxing and satisfying this is. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here like having a very serious conversation with myself, arguing with nobody. So relaxing. Spraying it clean, clean. Getting the chum off the bucket. Really intended to get the roof first, but it just kind of ended up being that way. I feel like, excuse me, goodness. I feel like that fist up there might end up being a little difficult to take care of. See, this one's turning into one of those ones like I was having an issue. Like, remember I was having an issue a couple episodes ago with Squidward's house and like how visually, how visually non-distinct a lot of the stuff was to me with my color blindness. I feel like I'm running into that issue with the chum bucket here. Where it's like visually this is not a whole lot different. Maybe I need to slow down my patterns a little bit here and maybe that'll help have like sharper lines, which will make it a bit easier to see, what areas I've cleaned and what areas I haven't. I am getting a little excited about the progress and kind of moving a bit faster, and I do know that that's just a recipe for disaster when you're playing this game. It really does work better. The slow and steady, the tortoise approach, is definitely the way to do it. But you'd think that just in general I would be sort of thinking a lot more about the efficacy of the tortoise approach, considering that's like one of the biggest training adjustments I've been doing for my running. I think I mentioned it before. At this point, as of recording this episode, a week ago, I ran my first marathon, which was such an awesome experience. And despite the pain and the fact that I know most people will question my sanity, and even in the process, I questioned my own sanity. So I get it. I'm not gonna get on people's case for thinking that I'm a weirdo. It's definitely a strange sport to electively choose. Running a marathon is a strange one. There was a time in human history when we ran long distances for the sake of, hunting and surviving, because we would have to hunt down, antelope and gazelle or whatever. But nowadays that's not the case. The only reason to run a marathon is to run a marathon. There's literally no other reason. So I acknowledge the insanity of it. But at any rate, I did it, and I'm planning on doing it again because I want to improve my time. And so I've been doing all kinds of research because I never ran cross country, I never ran track, never really knew anything about running until I decided to start doing it. And so I've been kind of learning on my own. And one of the things that I've been learning is that, like, you can't, especially when you're running those distances, you can't just run fast at the start and hope that buys you extra time to slow down later. You really do need to take a slow and steady approach because you will eventually burn out. And if you run slower, you can handle that burnout. Whereas if you run faster, you burn out harder and faster. So my life is all about slow and steady right now. But with that in mind, I'm just noticing the time, and it's absolutely 100% time for to call it an episode or move to the next one. So the next one, we'll see if we can finish. I bet you we can finish this. I bet you we can finish the chum bucket, maybe move on to the next one in the next episode. So thank you for joining me and sitting through my rants and rambles. One of my favorite ones, talking about alcohol. I have that rant a lot. Because I'm apparently passionate. I wouldn't consider myself passionate about, alcohol or not drinking alcohol, but here we are. At any rate, thank you for joining me. Appreciate you guys. Love you. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next episode when we finish cleaning off the chum bucket. So, goodbye now. Goodbye. Bye, bye-bye. Bye, SpongeBob, bye-bye. Bye, bye-bye, SpongeBob, bye-bye. Bye, bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.